The sky burned red when he felt his knees. The earth beneath his feet trembled, as if the dead marched below. Sitting Bull stared into the void, and the void stared back. Behind him, Custer's shadow whispered. Ahead, something older than hatred rose from the dust. It wasn't a man, nor a spirit. It was the echo. If that image sent a chill down your spine, then brace your soul, because the dust is still rising. Drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and let us know in the comments where you're watching this legend take shape. The wind howled through the dry plains like a lament that never learned to quiet. In the distance, the bones of buried horses creaked beneath the earth. It was the summer after the great battle. Little Bighorn bled in memories, but the blood had long dried. What remained was the sound of gunfire, the sound of screams, and the sound that came after that never left. Sitting Bull didn't sleep, not because he didn't want to, but because the silence spoke to him, and what it said chilled even the souls of the living. In the village, children ran under the sun, free from the weight of the past. But the old warrior's eyes, they saw only shadows. He began to walk alone, far from the fires, far from songs, searching for something, or perhaps fleeing from someone. On the third full moon after the battle, he found a trail. It wasn't made by human feet. It was as if the grass had been sucked downward, as if something had walked beneath the earth. And wherever it passed, the air grew heavier. The next night, a bison was found torn apart, with no signs of struggle, no tracks around it, just a void, as if it had been swallowed by an invisible thunder. The tribe's old shaman tried to cast smoke over the fear, but the smoke rose in spirals and shattered in the air like cracking glass. "It's the echo," he whispered, his eyes lost. "The echo of the massacre. It wants more blood." And that's when Sitting Bull understood. The battle of Little Bighorn hadn't ended. It had only changed form. The battlefield was now invisible, and the enemy didn't bleed. Sitting Bull saddled his horse at sunrise. He spoke no words, but his eyes, hard as time-worn stone, told stories too vast for one man to carry. He rode off with no clear path, but with a destiny carved by the dull thuds in his chest. That thing they called the echo, it wouldn't stop on its own. With each step, the ground seemed to remember. The trees didn't sway in the wind, they trembled, and the crows, they followed. Always three, always silent, never seen so far north before. He crossed abandoned lands, places where the war had passed, but its scent still lingered in the dust. A toppled wagon, bones hanging in the bushes, a blue scarf tangled in a thorn, the mark of the 7th Cavalry. Even time seemed to hesitate in those places. In a dead clearing, he found a man, or what was left of him, the body dried, the eyes too wide, the mouth frozen in a silent scream. On his forehead, etched like a scar, a strange pattern, like ripples in a lake after a stone's throw, like a sound that never stops vibrating. Sitting Bull knelt, took a handful of earth, and let it slip through his fingers. The dust danced with the wind, but none settled on the dead man, as if he were no longer there, as if he had been consumed. The trail stretched on, but it wasn't marked by footprints. It was marked by absence, of sound, of wind, of life. Then came the vision, not like a dream, but like a scream inside his head. Custer, standing in a misty field, his uniform burned, his face melted by memories. Behind him, a legion of men without shadows, white eyes, eyes that didn't blink. And in the center, that thing, nameless, formless, made of the sound of gunfire, the widow's cries, the crack of gunpowder, and the earth torn by fleeing hooves. The echo, waiting, calling. Sitting Bull opened his eyes. He knew what he had to do. The war had returned, and this time there were no armies, just a legend walking alone toward the heart of the noise, in the heart of the scorched desert, where even coyotes dared not howl. There was a place forgotten by maps, a deep valley carved by centuries of suffering. They called it the Mute Valley, and it was there that Sitting Bull felt the sound die. It wasn't ordinary silence. It was absolute absence. No rustling leaves, No flapping wings, no breath, as if the world held its breath. His horse froze, nostrils flared, eyes white with terror. Sitting Bull dismounted, steady. The ground creaked under his boots, but made no sound. Each step mute, each movement swallowed by the stillness. There, in the valley center, stood ancient stones, rough black, leaning like rotted teeth, and around them symbols written in ash and dried blood. And then it appeared. It didn't emerge, it imposed itself. The shadow took form, like smoke pulled backward. It had no face, but its outline shifted. Sometimes it resembled a man, sometimes a wolf, sometimes Sitting Bull himself. It was the echo, but not the echo of a voice. It was the echo of what had been done, of the blade that cut, of the fear before the shot, of the scream before death. The creature moved without touching the ground. The space around it contracted, as if the air fled from its presence. And then it began. The sounds returned, not from the present, but from the past. Explosions, screams in English. Hold the line. Goddamn savages. Sitting Bull fell to his knees. It was Little Bighorn. Again, not in memory. In flesh, the sky darkened. The voices took form. Soldiers emerged from the shadows, specters in tattered uniforms with empty eyes. The echo commanded them. They didn't seek vengeance. They sought repetition. The massacre had to continue, like a drum beating eternally. Sitting Bull rose slowly. He drew the bow from his back. The ancient would seem to hum. He didn't fight for glory, nor for redemption. He fought to break the cycle, to silence the scream that never stopped. But the enemy didn't bleed, didn't die, and it was getting closer. The first ghost charged, its bayonet slicing to the void like thunder through flesh. Sitting Bull spun. The arrow flew. It pierced the specter's chest and lodged in the stone behind. The soldier stopped, dissolved into dust, but others took its place. 10, 20, dozens of restless dead, marching as if the war had never ended. Sitting Bull back toward the black stones. There, the ground vibrated, not with life, with memory. The creature watched from above, motionless, made of everything that ever hurt. It fed on repetition. Each death there was its fuel, each memory a brick in its body. The sky erupted in dry thunder, but there were no clouds, only echoes. The warrior drew another arrow, but now they trembled, not from fear, from doubt. I can't kill what's already dead, he thought. But then he remembered, when he was a boy, the shaman had said, the spirit born of noise dies only in silence. Sitting Bull dropped the bow. He took a deep breath and stopped fighting. The soldiers advanced, but he didn't resist. He closed his eyes. The wind stopped. The echoes snapped like breaking strings. The voices tangled, lost strength. One by one, the ghosts halted, and they looked back, as if, for the first time, they remembered who they were. The creature shuddered. Its shadowy body tore apart from within. From its chest came a new sound. Not anger, not pain, silence. It tried to scream, but there was nothing left to say. The valley began to crumble. The stones fell. The dust rose in spirals. Time shattered like thin ice. Sitting Bull stood firm, motionless. The light returned to the world. But when the sun touched his skin, he was no longer there. Only his footprint remained, etched in the center of the silence. And a lone crow watching from above. The mute valley turned to wind, carried away like bone dust on the back of time. No one ever found the way back. The black stones vanished. The echo at last fell silent. But on nights when the moon bleeds over the hills, some swear they hear the rustle of black feathers crossing the sky. A lone crow, and just behind, heavy steps like boots treading sacred ground. Sitting Bull never returned to the village, but his name echoed from mouth to mouth, as if the legend walked alone, weaving respect along the edges of fear. The elders said he became part of the earth, that his soul still watched over the plains, where too much blood had already been spilled. Some hunters claimed to have seen his silhouette in the distance, standing on a hill, gazing at the horizon, as if listening to something others couldn't hear. And when the wind shifts, carrying the sound of ancient battles, they say he walks again. Because the war, the true war, never ends. It sleeps and wakes when we forget the silence. So, the next time the world grows too quiet, listen closely. It might just be peace, or it might be the echo, the one that returned. If this story sent a chill up your spine, don't forget to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and let us know in the comments which Old West legend you want to see come to life here. There's still plenty of dust to stir, and every echo has an origin. See you at the next shot.